To break up with your partner.
It was when our couples therapist, after a few sessions of seeing us, asked to see us individually. And I agreed. And she looked me in the eyes and she said, I think that you should leave as soon as you can. I fear for your life and I fear for your safety. This man is a narcissistic person and he's dangerous. Get out now, and certainly get out before you have any children and before you're tied to him for life. Oh, so I left.
Good.
But there's a plot twist. Follow for part 2.
What was your epiphany moment that it was time to break up with your partner? I'll go first. My ex-husband and I had been in couples therapy for many months, and at our very last appointment, the therapist looked at my husband and said, "Do you think she needs to be on more antidepressants?" And I was on Zoloft at the time, and he nodded yes. And she turned to me and said, "Maybe you need to up your dose." And that was the moment where I realized that if I need to be on more drugs to stay in this relationship, then it's not the one for me.
Hey beautiful people, how you all doing today? It's your girl Maria David, and I am back again with another interesting video. So people on TikTok decide to share the moment they realize that yes, that it clicked to them that yes, I have to break up with my partner. Has that occurred to you before? Let us know down in the comment section, because I have interesting ones to share with you all in today's video. Both men and women, but mostly women, they have that moment that they feel like, what am I even doing with this person? Like the moment you realize that, what am I even doing with this person? Like, it's over. That moment is epic. Like, it's epic. So let's go ahead and watch Stitches together. Then at the end of all the Stitches, I'll share my opinion. But then let me know your own epiphany moments down in the comment section.
With your partner. I'll go first.
My moment came as my partner's response to us having a disagreement was, maybe we learn to love so that we could go out into the world and love and be better partners for other people. We were having this discussion in the middle of a little tiny restaurant, and our table was right in the middle of the restaurant. As I looked at his face and I waited for him to say, hey, I'm just kidding, or offer further explanation, my eyes started to well up with tears. He was very stoic at first. And so I'm in the middle of this restaurant and I'm dabbing these tears away because they will not stop flowing. And I look over at him and he has a smirk on his face. That was my moment. That was the moment I realized that there was some level of pleasure that he was getting from seeing me in pain. Yeah. That was the moment I let him go.
Moment that it was time to break up with your partner.
All right, excuse the grossness, I'm outside cutting the grass. But when I was in college, I was dating this girl, and I loved this girl. She was my everything. I mean, I'd probably say my first real love. And so, you know, we were dated, things didn't work out, we broke up. But we would go back and forth, we would try it again and stop, try it again and stop. So one of the times we were trying it again, she called me late night after a party and said, hey, I have to tell you something. And I was like, what? She was like, I cheated on you. And I was like, are you serious? She was like, yeah. And I was like, with who? So I went down a list of people that I thought it could be. And then I said, no, it can't be this one guy. And when I said his name, she said yes. This guy was my best friend since the second week of school. I mean, we hung out like thick as thieves. I was broken when she told me that she cheated with my best friend. And then when I went and I talked to him about it, ran to his door crying, he said, what was I supposed to do, man? She told me how good she was to you.
What was your epiphany moment that it was time to break up with your partner?
We had a really big fight, and one of his friends saw the nasty part of the fight, and it's because some people had called him to say, come and see, your friends are fighting this side, yada yada. So when he came, he broke us apart and he decided to walk me to where I was staying. And I remember just him trying to encourage me, no, you guys are going to be okay. You always pull through these things. Yeah, just the usual that the boys will do. And so I looked at him and said, look, if your sister was dating this guy, would you encourage her to keep holding on, to fight for the relationship? He looked me dead in the eyes and said, no, I wouldn't. That moment right there, I knew there was nothing to fight for.
Period.
Any moment that it was time to break up with your partner?
My reason was he started justifying GBB. He started saying women are provoking. He started making abuse okay. I left his ears. I was like, okay. Maybe ke a bora. Ke wa no tenang. Mosquito video. Wana no borang na vele. So ba tlo sharp. So I left the relationship. And now I'm this type of girl. I don't beg as well. You come with your funny things. You're not consistent. I leave your ass. I block you.
Moment that it was time to break up with your partner.
There's actually many things, but the very first time I knew I had to get out of there was she went to work one day and I was off during the week. So that was a rarity. So what I did is I had the house cleaned. I did all the laundry. I had to make sure the kids had their homework done so she can just come home, decompress, and eat dinner that I made for her. I also had her car detailed and washed because she took my truck that morning. So I had her car detailed and washed because she had never washed it before. It was always a mess. So I wanted to be sure everything was clean for her. So she comes home and I'm thinking she's going to walk through the door and just be excited. Oh, thank you for washing my car. She walks in. She goes, why did you wash my car? I'm like, well, it's filthy. You've had it 2 years. You've never washed it and it was pretty dirty. She goes, I never asked you to do that for me. Plus, did you throw everything away inside? There's a lot of papers in there that I need. Never wash. If I don't ask you to do it, don't do it, okay? I'm like, all right. And then she keeps walking and she goes, what's that smell? I'm like, oh, just some cleanser. And she goes, well, why did you clean up? What did you use to clean the floors? The floors are sticky. Now I'm gonna have to redo it again. You never do it right. Then she looks at the laundry. She goes, I told you never to do my laundry. And the towels, I hate the way you fold them. I fold them my way. Now I gotta do all this all over again. And I'm like, well, I made dinner. She goes, I'm not even hungry. I'm going upstairs. And that's when I knew I gotta get the fuck out of there. And that's the greatest decision I've ever made.
What was your epiphany moment that it was time to break up with your partner?
Mine was when I had my daughter and she was 8 weeks old and it was about 7 a.m. and we were sleeping and she was a cluster feeder, so I was up all night feeding her, and he wanted to work out in my bedroom. I had a 4-bedroom house that I paid for. There were so many places to work out, so I asked, hey, can you work out in a different room and not blare music in here while me and the baby are sleeping? And he said, no, why don't you just move to the couch? And I said, that's weird. And he threw a whole fit, threw my fan across the room, started calling me all these names, and said if maybe I got my lazy fat whale ass up, I wouldn't look the way I do. And then told me to shut the fuck up. And so then I did shut the fuck up, and then he yelled at me for shutting the fuck up, and then he came over and punched me in the face and started choking me and then ripped my baby from my arms. And that was, yeah, that was the epiphany moment. I had to decide, if I don't leave, either myself or my daughter will be dead. So I left.
It was time to break up with your partner.
That's when I literally was on my way to work, going to catch the bus, and the 1 minute I was standing, the next minute I was on the ground in the dust because I had fainted. And some random stranger had to pick me up. On my way to work, before 6 a.m., I had collapsed in a queue for a Palco bus, just dark times. And this savior Shem, poor guy, knew where I lived, scooped me up, right? And advised everybody that, oh, okay, I know where she lives. I will take her home. He proceeded to carry me all the way home. All the while I am coherent, I am awake, and I'm looking into his face, and all I can say is, yo. And his responses with every yo was, Cause of a right, sis. Cause of a right, sis. Cause of a right, sis. Guys. I promptly, after, recouping, taking a nap, went to the doctor. He said, there's nothing wrong. We are going. I can laugh about this because Shem, poor guy, he just knew. And all I could say is that he got it without actually communicating anything.
It was time to break up with your partner.
2.5 years in, the pandemic hit, and I discovered BTS. And I had to ask myself at one point why I felt more emotional fulfillment watching 7 people having fun with one another on a screen than actually feeling emotionally fulfilled with the person I was supposed to be getting emotional fulfillment from. And I was a very, very go with the flow person, and he was giving me below bare minimum. So, yeah, so thanks, BTS.
What was your epiphany moment that it was time to break up with your partner?
So, when I was in third year university, I used to date this guy that was teaching at the university that I was attending as an undergraduate student. He was really hot and really smart, but a little bit toxic. I wanted to do a master's degree, but I didn't have any money, and so I was gonna need to apply for some scholarships to go. So one day I told him about this scholarship that I had found that was worth $17,500 and told him that I wanted to apply. This man looked at me and said to me, and I quote, "Do you really think you're smart enough to get that scholarship? It would be a huge waste of your time to even apply." Nobody tells me what I can and can't do. So I applied for the scholarship anyway, worked really hard, then I dumped him. And then a few months later, I got a phone call saying that I had won the scholarship for $17,500 and another one for $15,000. So I had a free ride through my master's, and then I did a PhD as well. Hooray!
What was your epiphany moment that it was time to break up with your partner?
So it was probably the day he came home from the gym, and the baby was laid down for a nap, and I'm sitting at the kitchen table with my coffee, and I'm just crying and crying. And he comes in and he's like, "What is wrong with you?" And then he like sits down, and I'm trying to explain to him how unhappy and depressed I am, and like I just don't feel like myself. And he just laughs at me, and he puts his hand right here and goes, "Titties," and just went about his day. And then later that night, I wouldn't do adult things with him, and so he kept telling me, "Oh, you're cheating on me, blah blah blah. It's fine, I'll just get it from my ex anyways, I'll get it from my baby mama, nobody wants anything from you." And so I went to go sleep in the recliner, and he came and picked me up and put me in the bed, and he's all, "No, you're my wife, you're not sleeping anywhere except for next to me." And then he pulled me in close, fell asleep, and I kept crying.
What was your epiphany moment that it was time to break up with your partner?
Story time. So we would get into this fight for about 3 months about his female coworker that he would hang out with, that, you know, of course, nothing's going on, you have nothing to worry about. And I just was uncomfortable with the relationship, didn't like their text message. It just seemed weird. Intuitively, something ain't right. And as a female, you know.
Yeah.
Anywho, of course, I get everything from stop acting like this, it's not even like that, she's just a friend, you look so insecure when you act like this. All right, cool, whatever. Anywho, the constant fight, and if anyone's in a relationship, not if anyone, a lot of people are here, but when you have the same fight over and over again, as a woman, there's only so much I can take. Anywho, so then, one fine day, we get into a fight again, because now I find out my engagement ring also belonged to the fiance that was before me. Same ring. Here, I'm thinking he bought another. I was wrong. That fight, that day, topped with another fight with the coworker. Out, right? I was done. And then I come to find out 3 weeks later, 1, 2, 3, uno, dos, tres, I find out that the girl he told me not to worry about, got nothing to worry about, shorty. She's nothing. They're engaged. Same ring. Isn't that funny?
I personally enjoyed the situations in this video. Like, the stories are like, I'm just uncomfortable, I'm shocked. A lot of things. Oh my god. And do you know the funniest part? What I noticed about all these women that actually made these stitches is that the moment he hits you on the head that this person is not for you, you need to leave, you are not very aggressive. Like, that's, I feel like that's not when you fight so aggressive, that's not when you shout, that's not when you do a lot of things. You're always very calm, because just when he hits you, you're always very calm, like, I gotta leave. Oh my god. But most of the ladies on this stage were talking about cheating, and this shows that how cheating can hurt you deeply. Even the ones that have children with them, they still cheat. Oh my god, this is a lot. As it is a lot. I'm just the story are just coming to my head. I'm like, it's a lot. It's a lot to process. Let me hear your thoughts down in the comments section. Let me know what you think about the video you just watched. You know, any opinions accepted. Can't bring them down in the comment section respectfully. Thank you so much for sticking to this point. I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe and comment, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.